In today's video, we are looking at Pierre Poilievre, who won the leadership review decisively by 90%. However, from my understanding, the leadership review wasn't a genuine win. This man did not genuinely win the leadership review. This was a rigged vote. But before we get to how it was rigged, we are going to go through the weaknesses, the strength of Pierre Poilievre as we see him and whether he can make it to Sussex Drive. Chances are very slim for him. Right now, he faces mutiny. Let's go through some of the things. If we look at his record, or if we do a survey across the country, 62% of non-conservative members reported that Pierre is doing a poor job. Pierre Poilievre. Let's call him the most unsuccessful leader. Why do we say that? Pierre increased the popular vote and he increased the seats initially. But although we now understand that there are going to be massive defections from his party, we just have a woman recently crossed the floor to the Liberals. Last time when in my other day there were 7 initially. And out of the 7 names which were being rumored, there are only 2 of them have crossed the floor. That means 5 of them are still out there. And now, apart from those 5, there are 10 more who wants to cross the floor. If those initial 5 are still interested, plus the other 10, that means potentially right now we can have 15 people cross the floor. 15 members of parliament from the Conservative Party of Canada crossing the floor to the Liberals. I said in my other videos, standing on a political quicksand, anytime you can sink, you are in a predicament. You are on the precipice of having no caucus. Be yourself and those few people who help you rig your leadership review. We'll get to how the leadership review was rigged. We will want to explain a number of things before we get to that. The Conservative Party of Canada leader and the party remains in a quandary. Everything it does to secure the support for the populist wing of the Conservative Party movement in Canada tends to alienate the rest of the country. Whatever is doing to secure the support of his base is alienating the rest of us across the country. The entire coast to coast, those swing voters who can determine that he gets on the top, they are being alienated. Any move to the center risks condemnation from those who are further to the right. If Pierre moves to the east to attract the other voter, they will reduce his support from his base. His base will desert him. Poilievre has won conservatives, but he has alienated the rest of the country, including those crucial shell votes necessary to push Conservative Party of Canada over the top. He won the Conservatives. Right now, he has support of the Conservative in his pocket, but he has alienated the rest of the country, including the crucial that would put him to the top. He doesn't have him. His Conservative base, they are not enough to have him elected. For any party, this like the Liberals, they do not entirely depend on those who consider themselves liberals, those who are on the left. In Canadian politics, you have to be somewhat on the center left or center right. So like that is for Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre respectively. This is how you get elected. But if you are left, you miss the center vote. If you are right to the right, you miss the center vote again. It's either you are center left or center right. So within the party, his tone and approach, 90% of conservatives believe he's right. But let's look across Canada. They see him as too aggressive and too confrontational. As I said in my other video, civility is the first virtue of humanity. He is seen as someone who doesn't have civility. I remember during the last election last year in April, which is almost a year ago now, during the debate prior to the April election, he said to the other leaders, "How come I'm the only one who is talking about crime here?" I remember I was watching that debate. "How come I'm the only one who is talking about crime here? All you other leaders, they don't seem to care." That's not the way we debate issues in politics, Pierre. You have to have enmity calmness of voice, evenness of temper at all times. Losing your cool in a debate doesn't make you a credible leader. You lose credibility. Let's look at the data from past data. Let's look at the polling done across the country. If you have made it so far, we suggest that you subscribe to this channel. We give views from a minority voice, someone who is not from the mainstream and who doesn't speak like the mainstream is contributing into the political discourse. Let's look at the data on electability. So 67% of the conservative base believe that Pierre Poilievre makes party more electable. Among the conservative voters, 68% agree. This is coming from data. Among 18% make him electable. A whooping figure of 61% say he's less electable. So among everybody else, only 13% they think that Pierre is electable. As I said, that is overwhelming 90% of whatever votes he gets to retain his leadership doesn't translate to the rest of the country. Across the nation, nationally, only 32% believe that Pierre makes Conservative Party of Canada electable. And 44% believe that he makes them less. That's national. That's away from those who are core conservative, those who are right on the right, who are actually embrace these conservative values and movement, those who are within the Conservative Party. This is a way like we are going across nationally. Only 32% believe that Pierre makes Conservative Party electable, and 44% believe he makes them less electable. So among the conservative base, the voters like his focus on affordability and the cost of living, or view him as somebody who is standing for the regular person, for you and me, for the ordinary person. His alignment with the conservative values, principles, and direct communication style may describe him as someone who is clearly and does not avoid tough issues. Among ordinary Canadians, they say there is nothing they like about him. As I said before, they see him as confrontational. They see him as aggressive. As I said in the other video, nationally you see as someone who lacks civility. As I gave the example of, how come I'm the only one who is talking about crime? I was watching alone at home, but when I got together with other like-minded people, they tap on that. Why was he talking like that? On this issue, as I said, that within his party is seen as somebody who is standing for the regular person. His focus on affordability and cost of living. However, across Canada, his affordability, including myself, I see him as somebody who is offering slogan rather than any tangible, clear policies. He's not offering any clear policies on affordability. As I was watching one of his interviews, he was asked, how are you going to achieve that? Hey, we are going to remove taxes on farming inputs. But our grocery stores are full of products which are coming from other nations, which are coming from around the globe. We have agricultural products that come from California. We have agricultural products that come from Mexico, that comes from Colombia, and come from South Africa, and come from Morocco. I was in one of the grocery stores just yesterday. The produce I bought, they are from South Africa. They are not from here. Is he going to remove taxes on farming inputs in South Africa? Or is he going to remove taxes on farming inputs in California? Is he going to say to the Mexican, remove tax so that your products can become affordable? So this is what I say. He is offering slogans, and when he is asked direct questions about how he is going to achieve that, he starts bluffing. He starts waffling, rambling, and saying a lot of things that do not make sense. He starts making incoherent statements about how he is going to achieve his affordability. So let's look at likability, how he is liked within the Conservative Party and across Canada. Like among conservative voters, his comments are seen as just scattered, just fragmented. Not a big deal. Yeah, it's part of politics. But among everybody else, Poilievre's rejection is clear, resounding, and intense. Pierre Poilievre perceived as too extreme, Trump-like, combative, negative approach, less conventional opposition, and more of polarizing and increasing division. Now on Pierre Poilievre, we are going to look at what would make people more confident as a leader. What would make people more confident in Pierre Poilievre as a leader? What would make you more confident? I'm assuming you are not within the Conservative Party. You're just like me, who can swing back and forth, who would look at policies and consider them. Rather than voting on party lines, you actually vote on policies that you think would make your life better. So what would make people more confident as a leader? More willingness to work with others when needed. One example right now, we have this American aggression in the Middle East, and which has exacerbated the affordability crisis back here at home. This is where you stand up and you work across the aisle with the other leader in order to make life affordable for Canadians. You speak with one voice because we did not choose the war. We had nothing to do with the Americans going into the war with Iran. Canadians, otherwise, I would say 99% of Canadians are opposed with this ongoing American aggression around the world. Given that the gas prices has gone very high, which will then work its way into the economy, it will affect the transportation system, make the cost of moving goods more expensive, and hence the groceries are going to be more expensive. Not only the gas you put in your car, but also the groceries are subsequently going to be more expensive as the gas price will affect everything. So this is the time to show willingness to work with others. Not just say, it's the liberals. It's the liberals. You went on a podcast and supported the war in Iran, in the United States. And say, yeah, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But that has consequences back here at home. And now you have to work with others and see if we can get through this. You are supporting an invasion of a sovereignty nation that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, but Israel can. Let's leave that one. So Pierre, a more respectful and measured tone. We are going through things that can make it more electable, will make people more confident in Poilievre as a leader, generally, nationally, across. One, we are saying we show willingness to work with others. Second, respectable and measured tone when you are talking. You are not fighting with everybody. You fight on ideas. And politics is a game of fighting on ideas, appealing to the people, to the voters. In politics, it's more like when I go for a job interview. I have to sell myself to the company. I don't go there and start talking with an aggressive voice and say, hire me, I will do the best job you have never seen. No, you go there and you appeal to them. They will ask you questions and you sell what you can do for them. But in politics now, you are selling yourself to the general population of the country. It's not like a company where you have to sell yourself to a panel of managers. You are selling yourself to the general population. You are saying to the people, elect me and this is what I'm going to do for you. Some will buy that and some won't. But if a good percentage buy that, then you are in a good position. Let's go through this. You have to be more willingness to work with others, more respectful and measured tone, clear policy and details, more focus on kitchen table issues. On kitchen table issues, don't say affordability. Don't make a song. Don't sell like a sound bite. Affordability. No, do not say just affordability. Try to clearly say how you are going to achieve that. As I say, clear policies and details. Stronger team and more visible members of parliament. We have to have a strong team, the more visible members of parliament. Give your MPs freedom to speak publicly. There is one gentleman, I watched his interview. He lost in the East. One of the reasons which he cited for his loss was like in the aftermath of the election, he had people call him and say, no, I considered voting for you, but we didn't know what you stand for. You never speak publicly. You never articulated your policies. And he lamented that he had a leader who couldn't make him speak. The gentleman lost to a liberal candidate. So the Liberal candidates were speaking. MPs are grown-up human beings who can be trusted and speak, but they do not only have to deviate from the core values of your political party, but they can speak for themselves. You don't have to speak for each and every MP across the country. Do not muzzle your MP. Give freedom to your MP to speak. So more mainstream media interviews don't just go into northern whatever and start talking about the leadership of the RCMP is despicable. No. Talk to broadcasting stations. We don't watch those podcasts. Do you know some of the podcasts we should go on? People would go and watch them as some of the mainstream media would have picked up a soundbite from what you would have said and said, oh, this is what Poilievre said on this podcast. Then people would go and watch them because people don't watch podcasts all the time. Let me just sum up things which I said would make you more confidence. That would drive confidence of people in you. One is the willingness to work with others when needed. More respectful and measured tone. Clear policy and details. More focus on kitchen table issues. Strong team and more visible members of parliament. And more freedom for MPs to speak publicly. Give them the freedom. And more mainstream media interviews. Get interviewed. TV stations across the country. TV stations in Alberta, TV stations in Vancouver gets interviews by this, not on this podcast all the time. We are now going to give you how his review was rigged. First and foremost, the delegates were selected loyalty to Pierre Poilievre. Those who demonstrated wavering loyalty were then selected. And secondly, they had to pay $1,000. I think this is a standard procedure according to their party rules. When they were selected on loyalty to Poilievre, of course, over time, their loyalty was tested and proven. And then they had to pay $1,000. A night before, all of them, they had to attend a dinner hosted by Poilievre. This is influenced by people who are going to decide your fate. Let me give this example. It's like me, I committed a crime. I got on trial, and now the trial winds through the court. Eventually now the case, before it goes to the jury, I invite the jurors to a dinner and then entertain them, good food and pamper them with gifts. It goes without saying. It's no brainer that my likelihood of being acquitted will be very high. There was a high-profile case in the state of California where this woman, she was a very rich woman who was being accused of killing her ex-husband. And then they were saying she had access to the jurors. Each juror was given about $1 million. 12 jurors, because she owned a lot of properties in the state of California. Herself and the lawyer managed to corrupt the jurors, and each juror was given $1 million. And obviously, needless to say that she was acquitted. A night before these delegates were hosted to a dinner by Pierre. Of course, I know that it's one party. It's not like the jury, which you cannot have access to. But there was a bit of influence peddling here. Here is also information I gather. All these delegates to this convention who decided the fate of Pierre, who voted overwhelmingly for Pierre, prior to when they were all called by some staffers from the former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, were called either by Stephen Harper himself or with the help of other people, and they were told that, hey, we are returning Pierre as a leader. Do people know that who desperately wants Pierre to be elected, who wants to remain a leader, is none than Stephen Joseph Harper, his former boss, the one who brought him to politics. He's the one who is holding the party to ransom, who wants Pierre to be the leader at all costs. He wants Pierre to be elected. Pierre must remain the leader. We are not walking away from Pierre. He's doing a great job. Let me just sum up what I've just said. So the delegates were selected on their loyalty. They had to pay $1,000. A night before they were hosted to a dinner by Pierre Poilievre, also they were all by Stephen Harper and to be told that we are returning Pierre as a leader. Stephen Joseph Harper did that. The bottom line, Poilievre faces a paradox. The only qualities that make him compelling to his best, to his core conservative supporters, appear to be inseparable from the qualities that make him problematic to everyone else. Among conservative supporters, he is seen as principled, strong, determined, prime minister worthy. He is the right tone, the right temperament, and the right values. But on the other side of the paradox is clear. Poilievre is viewed with skepticism at best and rejection at worst. Canadians see him as aggressive, too risky, lacking the tone required for national leadership. There is the genuine concern about his temperament, divisiveness, and is seen as a risk. Let's ask a question. Can Pierre evolve and make a fundamental shift in his approach without alienating his base? Can he? Subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you watching this video right to the end. Subscribe